Today we're talking about Amazon's new movie, The Buddy Games. I expected nothing, and that's about what I got. Hey folks, I watched Buddy Games a couple days ago, and I've got some pretty mixed feelings. This definitely wasn't a good movie, but I knew it wouldn't be when I saw the trailer. But there's something about it that I, unfortunately, kind of enjoyed. I don't think I would have even given it a try if not for the cast. Although it's not filled out with A-list actors, the grouping seemed like it would make for a fun movie. The movie surrounds a group of longtime friends played by Josh Duhamel, who also directed and co-wrote this movie, Shepard, who is probably about the biggest name of the whole group these days, Nick Swardson, who I hate to love and love to hate, Dan Bakkedahl, who comedically tends to crush it in a lot of his roles. Shout out to Life in Pieces, R.I.P. Dillon, who hasn't really seen much work since Entourage, and James Roday, who is just a hidden gem for me. I'm personally a huge fan of Psych, and I do get excited whenever Roday pops up in pretty much anything. The plot of this movie is simple. These dudes played a game each year for a long time that was essentially a decathlon of different sports and activities to test their physical prowess. Now, when we start the movie, we're introduced to the group as Dan Bakkedahl's character, Shelley, is declared victor for the 6th year in a row, while relentlessly shoving it in the face of Nick Swardson's character, Bender. As he makes his victory lap, which culminates in him publicly humiliating a passed-out spectator, Bender and Shelley's wife, both of whom have had enough of his douchebaggery, contemplate shooting him in a very delicate spot with a paintball gun. After they take the shot, we see the group 5 years later, as Shelley has been missing ever since because of the aftermath of that shot. Shelley's mother contacts Josh Duhamel's character, the Bob Father, and begs him to start the buddy games again to give Shelley, who has spiraled in the 5 years since, a reason to live. The Bob Father has made quite a bit of money in the years since, so he eventually puts a $150,000 prize on this year's buddy games and gets the crew back together. The rest of the movie is pretty much just the type of humor you'd expect from a movie like this. The thing is, they don't really tend to make movies like this that often anymore. This movie would have been right at home in about 2005, and honestly, the cast could have been pretty much the same. There are a lot of bits about bodily fluids and having sex with homeless people and gay jokes, and it gets pretty bad. The problem is that these guys kind of shamelessly sold it. Nick Swardson kind of carries the weight of the comedy in this movie, and honestly, it's just what you'd expect from him at this point, so it doesn't really feel out of place. I'd honestly say, besides the writing, the biggest problem with this movie is the size of the cast. Dillon could have just not been in the movie and no one would have noticed. Same for James Roday, unfortunately, although at least he has somewhat of a story arc. And Shepard has a whole side story that could have just been dropped out of the film, but then you also could have lost his character too, and then you would have missed a good chunk of the movie. Most of the cast just wasn't needed for the story they wanted to tell, and most didn't even have enough interaction with one another to make the group feel as close as they were trying to make it seem like they were. In 2005, this would have probably been a straight-to-DVD movie, and today a streaming service would have been the best place for it. Me personally, I paid $6 to rent this from Amazon, and I probably paid too much. Now, I know this review makes it seem like I hated this movie, but honestly, there was something enjoyable enough about it that I don't want to rate it any lower than a 5 out of 10. That being said, I'm not recommending this movie. If you're a fan of Nick Swardson, you'll probably have a good time. If you're a fan of actual comedy, you probably won't. This movie's trash, and maybe I'm trash because I really didn't hate it. Have you seen the Buddy Games? Am I trash? Is this movie the worst? Let me know in the comments. I'm sticking with my 5 out of 10. Thanks.